Hi, my name is Karen Slusher, and this is my case study for data analysis. There's a lot that you actually know when it comes to this situation. I think you know a lot about the school's makeup, um, and that really the scores are showing that the students are underperforming. You know that the parents are involved and they want answers, and you also know that there's a grant available for the school to apply for, um, and hopefully be able to implement a new curriculum. There's a lot that I need to know, and I'm just going to go through a couple of these, but really it's just how long has the current curriculum been there for? What other curriculums are being used across the district, and are there schools that might want to work with us on implementing a new curriculum? What are the effective teachers doing differently, and how were they able to incorporate that into their classroom? I think it's important to know the makeup of each class. So how many students are in a class? How long have the teachers been teaching? What other partnerships have been established to encourage reading in and outside of the classroom? I think it's also important to understand what the budget is for a potential new curriculum. I think that's the biggest thing. And then how can we use potential professional learning communities to help make this a more successful program. The problem really is just that the students are behind in their reading, or they're falling behind in their reading, and that they're not performing as well as they should, and that the reading curriculum is outdated, and now the parents are starting to lack trust in the school and teachers to provide quality instruction for their kids. My plan revolves around first presenting this idea to district leadership for approval, but then taking the data to the faculty and kind of basically putting it out there for them to understand that our reading curriculum is outdated and that we really need to look at what we can do to change our curriculum and to modify it for current state standards so that our students can improve their reading skill set. My plan would be to do a call to action and invite teachers to be a part of a task team alongside school leaders, the district reading specialist, a school librarian, and maybe public librarian, and then several parent volunteers, and that they would be able to research different reading programs and make recommendations for possible curriculums to implement. They would present the recommendation to district personnel and anybody else willing to listen to it, and then from there we would write the grant to receive funding, hopefully receive funding for a new curriculum. And then upon receiving the grant, it would be an implementation of curriculum and professional development, a presentation of the new curriculum to the school community through letters, a Q&A session, PTO meetings, and then also hopefully the incorporation of reading mentors from students grades 8 through 12 and parent volunteers. As far as strategies go, I really want to make this about a time to refresh so that teachers don't feel like they are being blamed for the current situation. I think it's about just updating rather than looking at lack of potential skill within the teachers. I also want to make sure I involve the parents. I want a task team to be representative of the whole school. I want to be able to conduct research, including site visits to other schools where the potential curriculums are being used, just to see what they look like. And I want to have teachers have control over the future curriculum and make sure that that helps empower them. And then having the parent volunteers be able to present to the PTO and to the school community in order to incorporate ways to engage the families in helping the school improve reading scores. And then I'd also like to make this an opportunity to establish professional learning communities that can also integrate data collection into everyday teaching. Really what's best for all students is that they need a new curriculum and they need teachers who understand how to individualize education for all kids. So it comes down to what the teachers can teach, so being able to do phonemic and phonetic skills, comprehension, exposure to books that meet the right levels, and then also being able to communicate with the families so that they have support, that the students have support at home. The justification for my plan really revolves around the scores decreasing over a steady period of time, not just one single year, along with observations from myself and then the district reading specialist, and then the parents' demand for change. And then also to the fact that there are teacher leaders in the building who can provide support, and that the district reading specialist identified the need to have instruction change to be able to individualize instruction for all kids. I was really thinking a lot about how the curriculum doesn't seem like it's changed in the past 10 years. I also thought teachers might not love having to change what they know, and that the school needs to take time to learn how to work with data and how to use data in their classrooms, and that there are also teachers who can help implement this change. And then I was also thinking that individualizing instruction is tough for one person to manage with so many students. I was really feeling frustration around the students not receiving the education that they deserve, and I was also frustrated with the parents for believing they know exactly what to do. Um, and I just think that's a tough thing for most educators. I also was concerned about the faculty and their response to me presenting this as a newer administrator, but I was hoping my excitement about a new opportunity would help overshadow that concern. I'm excited about a new curriculum. I'm excited about the teachers being able to grow in their skill set. And then I'm also anticipating the change, watching the change for the better, hopefully. I was really valuing the students' need for better instruction, the teachers' needs for independence, the parents' desire for quality education, and then a modern education surrounded or based on research and data, and then opportunities to develop best practice. Unresolved issues really is that this is about a grant. And so I think there needs to be a backup plan from the district, or the district being able to provide monetary support to integrate a new curriculum. Ways to integrate the volunteers, so working with the older kids, figuring out how to get them into the classroom and what that time frame would look like. I think just the selection of the proper or the appropriate curriculum for our school and our students, and then what happens in between the year of receiving the grant and actually being able to start the program. And then I was too curious about math, and is there a way to implement some change for math, because it looked like the math scores were starting to decline as well. I really tried to engage with the community to be able to incorporate parents, a public librarian, and then the district personnel, just to make sure that people felt like they were heard and that they were able to participate in a way that made sense to them. I wanted to use data to help the teachers understand what was going on, and also to help the parents understand from an educator standpoint what the data was saying. I also think my notion of needing more information about the community and how they interact with their kids outside of school was important. And I think too, just making sure that everything is public and not being afraid of sharing this information in a way to show that we're trying to implement change and to make sure that the education is right for all kids. There weren't many policies or laws to pay attention to with this, I felt like. I think the biggest concern is going to be financial, and what the school is able, or the district is able to do financially for a new curriculum, professional development training, and any sort of other needs that we might have, like sub-coverage for the teachers who go and do site visits at other schools. And then I think it's also important to understand the state standards and qualifications for proficiency, and the fact that many students are not meeting those standards. I really wanted to make sure that the district reading specialist was a voice that mattered in all of this. I also wanted to make sure that people recognize that the data from state standardized tests, that it does matter, and that we need to pay attention to it. And then the site visits to make connections with other schools, to include parent leaders, and to make sure that this was approved by district leadership, I think is really important. And then I think connecting with other schools in the district that are underperforming, so that we can really provide quality instruction across the district and not just within our school. I think that's really the plan that I had for making some changes.